Have you ever felt like your life isn't working anymore, but you can't fully explain why? Maybe you're questioning your relationship, your career, where you live, who you've become. Or maybe everything looks fine from the outside, but something inside you knows it can't continue as it is. If that's where you are, you may be moving through what I call a threshold. The threshold framework that I created describes 5 phases that many people move through during significant life transitions. This is not a personality test. It's not a diagnosis. It's simply a way of understanding where you are when life is asking you to become someone new. So let's walk through the phases. Number 1 is the crumble. The crumble often starts as a quiet dissatisfaction. You keep asking yourself, should I stay or should I go? Maybe it's your relationship, your job, your business, your life in general. Maybe it's all of them. One day you're convinced something has to change. The next day you think, maybe it's not that bad. You swing back and forth constantly. The common signs are persistent dissatisfaction, feeling stuck, mental overthinking, exhaustion from trying to make things work, a growing sense that something no longer fits, repeatedly asking the same questions without finding clarity. And what people often misunderstand is that they think the problem is that they haven't made a decision yet. But the decision isn't the real issue. The swinging itself is the process. Life is slowly showing you what no longer fits. And what this phase may be asking of you is not action, it's recognition. To stop dismissing what you already know, to tell yourself the truth about what isn't working. You then move to the edge, and the edge is the moment the truth becomes undeniable. There is no more swinging, you know. You may not have spoken it out loud yet, but you know. And that's what makes this phase so uncomfortable. Because once you acknowledge the truth, life can never return to what it was before. The common signs are a sudden moment of clarity, feeling cornered by the truth, fear mixed with certainty, knowing what needs to change, feeling unable to continue as you are. And what most people often misunderstand is that they think they're confused. But many aren't confused at all. They're just grieving what the truth will require. And what this phase may be asking of you is just courage. Not certainty, not a perfect plan, just enough courage to acknowledge what you already know. Next is the descent. This feels like the old version of life starts falling away. The relationship ends, the job changes, the identity you've built no longer works. It can feel chaotic, like you're losing footing, like your life has become unfamiliar. And it could be that everything is being destroyed, and set on fire. The common signs are intense emotions, grief, identity loss, exhaustion, feeling disconnected from who you used to be, fear about the future. And what people often misunderstand is that they think something has gone wrong, that they're falling apart, that they failed. But the descent isn't failure, it's dismantling. The old structure is being removed so something new can eventually emerge. And what this phase may be asking of you is to stop trying to rush through it, to feel what needs to be felt, to allow the process instead of fighting it. The next one is integration. And this feels like the storm has passed. Life isn't necessarily exciting yet, but it's no longer consuming you. Things begin to make sense. You start seeing what happened, what changed, what you learned. The common signs are more emotional stability, greater self-awareness, clearer boundaries, less urgency, a quieter mind, more grounded decision making. And what people often misunderstand, many people think nothing is happening here. Compared to the descent, nothing dramatic is happening. But some of the most important work happens during integration. This is where insight becomes embodiment. And what this phase may be asking of you, to slow down, to rebuild carefully, to create a life that actually supports the person you've become. And then finally, we arrive in emergence. And this feels like life begins moving again. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer organized around survival. You start feeling curious again, creative again, interested in your future again. And the common signs are more energy, a quieter nervous system, renewed interest in life, new opportunities appearing, greater self-trust, and taking action without panic. And what people often misunderstand is that they expect emergence to feel like a dramatic breakthrough. Most of the time it doesn't. It feels surprisingly ordinary, just lighter, steadier, more possible. And what this phase may be asking of you is to trust what is growing. Stop waiting for proof. To begin living as the person you're becoming. If you recognized yourself in one of these phases, know that you're not behind. You're not broken. And you're not the only one moving through this. The threshold framework was created to help make sense of these periods of transition, so that what feels confusing can become understandable. And if you're still unsure where you are, that's exactly why I created the threshold mapping session. Together, we'll explore what's happening in your life, identify the phase you're currently moving through, and help you find your next steps with greater clarity and confidence. Because sometimes the most powerful thing isn't having all the answers, it's finally understanding where you are.